Lawn bowling is more than just a game. There's no talking on the green.
Genuine 1972 prices.
There's nothing this soft. Just stick it right up them, right up them.
Welcome to Without Bias. Brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Apia, dedicated specialists ready to help. Call 13 50 50. Apia, get set, go. Local legends wanted. A bowls green is just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me.
Very good evening and welcome to Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN. Sam Hargraves here as well, and what a massive couple of weeks it's been up on the Gold Coast. Of course, the Australian Open has been run and won, a ton of events, all of them absolutely fantastically competed in and put together. So a heap to get through this evening, and not without it being in the nick of time too, given the COVID situation unfolding in Queensland at the moment. So we're wishing everybody the best there. But congratulations first and foremost as we get into Without Bias tonight for Bowls Australia, local legends wanted, search bowls clubs near me, and for Apia, dedicated specialists ready to help. Call 13 50 50, Apia, get set, go. Congratulations to all the winners and competitors who made this tournament such a special occasion, considering it was a year off last year in the depths of COVID, and to everybody that competed, to everybody that was an eventual winner, but especially to the people and the clubs that put on this tournament, to Bowls Australia, everybody involved, a magnificent job from everybody. It was an incredible couple of weeks. Well done to Aaron Wilson, who saluted in the men's singles, and Natasha Van Eldik, who became a three-time Australian Open singles champion. And especially, too, to our first guest this evening, crowned the inaugural MVP of the Australian Open, tasted success in the women's pairs and the fours champions, and was the fours champion as well. Kelsey Cottrell's been good enough to jump on again. Kelsey, hello to you and congratulations.
Hi, thank you. Yeah, just so thrilled. Like you said in the intro, so thrilled to be back playing in the Australian Open, given we had last year off, and to taste some success was nice. How
it's in your neck of the woods, up there in and around the Gold Coast. How fantastic was it to see so many clubs able to be a part of the tournament itself and the different events contained therein, and to be able to do it on relatively your home deck must have been special.
Yeah, it was fantastic. So I recently joined Broadbeach Bowls Club, and at the time when you join, you don't think about playing events like that and, winning on your home soil. But as the Australian Open sort of kicked off, and I thought, it's worked out perfect, to be able to get drawn there a couple of times in sectional play and then head back there for finals. It felt really comfortable being there at a home club and having played there a lot over the years as well at different events, different previous Australian Opens, Commonwealth Games as well. Yeah, it does feel like home.
So this was your 7th and 8th Australian Open wins in the pairs and the fours respectively. How does that sound to you to be an 8-time Australian Open champion?
Yeah, a bit shocked actually when they said that. I knew that Lindsay had racked up quite a few Australian Open titles, but it hadn't really dawned on me that I'm actually not that far behind. So Lindsay and I have actually won most of our titles together. We've both won the singles once each, and then Lindsay's won a pairs title with Karen. So I think she's now won 9 and I've won 8. So very special to have won it with Lindsay again, and then also our other teammates in Anne and Sam in the fours. But it was just a bit of a shock actually. You stop and think about the success we've had over the years, both at Darebin and since the Australian Open's moved to the Gold Coast and moved to Broadbeach.
And what about getting that MVP award? How does that sit with you?
Yeah, definitely not something that I was thinking about. Generally speaking, I think someone that wins the singles, they rack up a lot of ranking points. So when I got knocked out of the singles in the semi-final, I kind of thought, I've kind of, stopped sort of thinking about that. Or not that I probably really even was thinking about it, but the next day we sort of went out and played the fours final and won, and then that night played the pairs semi-final and won. And I sort of got home that night, and it started I think it was something that my mother-in-law said on the way home, like, you're doing so well. There's not many people that have made all these finals. And I was thinking, Yeah, there isn't actually, and I was sort of like going through the names. Like Jamie Lee Wollstomp had an awesome event as well. Natasha Van Eldick, who beat Jamie in the singles. So I started to think, maybe I have a chance of sort of running her down. And messaged my partner Andrew. It's good to have people in the know. Andrew actually is the events manager of Bowls Australia, and I actually messaged him and said, "Am I a chance of winning player of the tournament tomorrow?" And he was like, "Yep." He's like, "I'm just doing the calculations now. If you win the pairs final tomorrow, you win it. If you lose the pairs final, you and Tash will be all square." So, yeah, good to have someone in the know. But yeah, it just sort of dawned on me that night that, yeah, I was travelling pretty well, having won the fours and then qualified for the pairs final, and then getting knocked out in the semi of the singles. I got a lot of ranking points for that as well. So, yeah, really special at the end there. I was pretty speechless, actually, that whole, after we won the pairs, we were sort of getting ready for the presentation, and I sort of saw the check, and I thought, I was a bit speechless that it happened. It's been a long 2 weeks, a very tiring 2 weeks for me, carting the kids around left, right and centre, and all over the Gold Coast. But just thrilled to be back playing, and to have some success is awesome.
I mentioned the inaugural MVP, obviously not the tournament's inaugural MVP, but yours is how I was meant to be putting that sentence together. First time you've been able to claim that accolade, which is truly special. Was it a goal going in, or is that kind of stuff just the bonus and you don't even tend to give that much thought coming in? What were your goals coming into this Australian Open?
Yeah, so it's probably one of the first Australian Opens where I haven't really set some goals. I'm normally very goal orientated and go into events with a very clear, idea of how I want to play and, game plans and where I want to finish. But this Australian Open, just the way things have panned out, just the way probably where I am at the moment in life, having just come back with from 12 months off, having a baby, we had a bit of a close down with COVID. So, I probably didn't have any great expectations. You always want to win. I think I'm a competitor, so when I go into an event, it doesn't matter what it is, I want to win, like everyone does. But I think, like I said, it sort of just got towards the end of the event, and I realised that it was kind of panning out that I'd made a few finals and was sort of travelling quite well. And I started to think about the player of the event, but definitely not something that I was thinking about prior to going into the Australian Open. I just wanted to play well, not let my teammates down, and just do the best we can.
Talk about that relationship with Lindsay. You mentioned that obviously you had the success in the pairs and the fours. You've shared 7 of your titles with Lindsay. You've won. This is your second pairs title together. What is it about you two that you think works so well together? Probably a few different things. We're pretty versatile. We've sort of over the years, we've played a lot of lead, played a lot of skip. We've kind of alternated, which is nice. I think to have that bit of a break. Sometimes when we go out and play, we'll chop and change. So in previous years, we've won the pairs title. Lindsay skipped, and this time I skipped. When we've played the fours, sometimes one's led or third or skipped. We're sort of a bit kind of versatile, so we mix it up. So I think we definitely don't get complacent, or we don't get stale in what we're doing. We change it up. It's exciting and fresh all the time. We get on great on and off the green. We're best mates. We live just down the road. Our kids are hanging out together. They've become little besties. So just a really good, I guess we just got a really good relationship on and off the green. And I think, like I said before, we both really like to win. So we've kind of, you might not always be able to see it on our face, but on the inside, we're competitors. We love the fight. We love those close games, and we back ourselves when the game is close, so that we're going to get over the line in those dying ends. And I'm sure that Ann Johns and Sam Ferguson, who subbed in for Beck Van Ash, clearly got involved in the spirit of that, and it was able to flow through for the success of the fours as well, which was absolutely fantastic. So with you mentioned your partner, Andrew, the events and competitions manager at Bowls Australia. We've got to put our hands together for him and the team. What a remarkable job that they've done getting the Australian Open off the ground, run successfully. Sadly, without the Victorians, given how the outbreak unfolded here. But just a wonderful job, and they deserve every bit of our appreciation and congratulations.
Yeah, I think when we heard that Victoria was going into lockdown and so close to the start of the Australian Open, I think everyone's stomach sort of started to feel a bit queasy. Andrew kind of went into panic mode. In a way, he was, I say panic mode, but I suppose on the outside he was keeping it cool and calm, but on the inside I'd imagine, his stomach would have been churning a fair bit, and especially off last year, the fact that we didn't get to compete in the Australian Open last year, and a lot of things have been put on hold, and I think everyone was just excited for the Australian Open to start, and then with everything that was happening in Victoria, we all felt sick for our teammates as well. A lot of us were, jackaroos or, just people that we know really well, having played in all these different events, to know that these Victorians weren't going to get to come was incredibly sad. But Andrew did an awesome job. He worked some really, really long hours. The kids are used to me being on the laptop late at night, or I shouldn't say kids, so Sienna, our oldest, is used to, mummy getting on the laptop when she's about to go to bed and staying up late, but to see daddy doing it as well, it was a crazy sort of week for the whole family in the lead up to the AO. And I think for Andrew, as soon as that first day kicked off with the men's singles and everything went smoothly, I think on that day, I think only one or two people, didn't turn up for sectional. I think it was just like a weight lifted off his shoulders, and the event was up and running. Everyone was excited. The clubs were into it. The volunteers were fab, just absolutely fantastic the way they jumped in, helped out with, things like scorecards and rink allocations, and, so much had to be changed. I remember the very first day when Andrew said, looks like, the Victorians are not going to be able to come. I'm going to have to pull them out of the drawers. I'm going to have to redo all the drawers. And he said something like 5,000 scorecards and only just turned up at Broadbeach a few days earlier. So, it was, very, very sad for the Victorians. But, hopefully we'll be able to catch up with them again soon and see them out on the green. I suppose now for, Queensland today, we've just gone into lockdown as well. So, it's a crazy world we live in. So take the good with the bad, I suppose.
Absolutely. We'll enjoy the good, and you had plenty of it. The fours, the pairs, and the overall MVP as well. Kelsey Cottrell, always a pleasure to catch up with you. Thanks so much.
No problem. Thank you.
Kelsey Cottrell on Without Bias, one of our two special guests this evening as we just look back on what a fantastically run event the Australian Open was, and congratulations to everybody that enjoyed success and participated and put this tournament together. We'll go through the honour roll on the other side of this, and we'll speak to the men's pairs champion as well, Cody Packer, who tasted that success with Matt Johnston. So that's all still to come on Without Bias, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN, all for Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted. A Bowls Green is just up the road. Search Bowls clubs near me. And for Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia.
From the wide outdoors to the great indoors, this is Without Bias.
Brought to you by Apia, proudly supporting Bowls Australia. Local legends wanted. A Bowls Green is just up the road. Search Bowls clubs near me.
Welcome back to Without Bias, our dedicated lawn bowl show, part of the Sporting Capital on SEN. Sam Hargraves with you. Great to chat to women's pairs, fours and Australian Open MVP Kelsey Cottrell earlier on in the show. sen.com.au. Go to the Without Bias page and download the podcast if you missed out on that chat as well. And before we get to our next special guest, let's just go through the honour roll from the Australian Open. So men's singles winner Aaron Wilson, women's singles Natasha Van Eldig, men's pairs Matt Johnson and Cody Packer, who's standing by ready to chat. Women's pairs Lindsay Clark and Kelsey Cottrell. Men's fours Ray Pearce, Aaron Houston, Ben Twist and Dave Ferguson. Women's fours, Sam Ferguson, Anne Johns, Lindsay Clark and Kelsey Cottrell. Under-18 boys singles, Joseph Clark. Under-18 girls singles, Kate Argent Bowden. Over 60s men's pairs, Max Jaffray and Neville Jenkins. Over 60s women's, Marie Gibbs and Sue Brady. Multi-disability open men's singles, Josh Thornton. Multi-disability open women's singles, Kim Saunders. Multi-disability open pairs, Serena and Tony Bonnell. And the vision impaired singles was Fred McConnell. Congratulations to all the winners and all the participants. And our next guest, emerging Jackaroo, one of the rising stars of the sport. He was the 2021 Australian Open men's pairs champion, along with Matt Johnson. Cody Packer's been good enough to jump on the phone. Cody, hello.
How you going, Sam?
Well, thanks, mate. Congratulations. That's quite a handy achievement.
A couple of days after the event now, it's been able to sink in a little bit. It was all a little bit surreal at the time, but pretty good feeling.
How were the celebrations?
Pretty brief. We had my wife and youngest flew over for the semi and the final, so we were booked in a flight at 7:15 on that Thursday night. So I had a couple of quiet ones with Matt, and then we're off to the airport and on the plane.
So back home, safe and sound, and now that you had a chance to reflect on it, a fantastic 2 weeks, and we've been commending all that put this together, especially Andrew Howie, the events and competitions manager, but the whole team at Bowls Australia, all the clubs and volunteers. What were your overall reflections of this year's Australian Open?
Oh, it's a magnificent event. As they always seem to put on a magnificent event over that 2.5 weeks. All the clubs are brilliant. The volunteers are amazing. Howie does a cracking job with all those events. It's one of the best 2.5 weeks of bowls that you could play in, I reckon.
You won the pairs, as I said, Matt Johnson. He's from Soldiers Point in New South Wales. You're from W8. How did this pairing come about?
Yeah, we've been asked that a few times, actually, because it's a fair distance. We played each other in the 2019 Aussie Open singles. I didn't know him from a bar of soap. He didn't know me. We played one of the best games, or probably still the best game I've ever played in, at Southport against him. Was lucky enough to win that game, but we decided to team up after that. Just the way we sort of saw the game the same way and played similar styles, and just sort of went from there.
Obviously, you were able to gel pretty quickly in your first tournament as pairs together and tasting that ultimate success. What do you put that down to?
I think just keeping the game plan simple. We were lucky enough that Broadbeach put on a practice pairs on the Friday beforehand, so we put our names down for that just to sort of have a run at how we were going to play it, because we obviously hadn't played before, and we just sort of went in with the idea that we'd probably back our draw first, play the shots when they were there, but maybe that draw first mentality, just keep bowls in the head and keep games tight. And Matt's strength's the draw game. I'd probably look at the same way. My strength's the draw game. We just sort of went from there.
Now, not only did you guys win, but for you personally, you had the responsibility of bowling the final bowl of the match. This pair's final went down to the wire between yourselves and Gary Pearson and Cohen Litfin. You had to bowl the final bowl. How did you remain composed? What was the game plan? Would we equate it to goal needing to be kicked after the siren sort of stuff?
I probably hadn't looked at it like that, but I think it's just I knew that Matt had the trust in me, and I know that I'd done a lot of work back home on and off the green, trying to improve my game, and we'd been in that situation a couple of times before. I was lucky enough with my second last bowl that I'd found the weight pretty good, so I sort of knew that if I'd put it on the same sort of, delivered at the same sort of pace on a tighter line, that I'd be pretty close. But I didn't really think about it too much. We held the one which got us to the extra end, so the pressure was off a little bit. But yeah, to sort of back myself in that I'd done the work, and just sort of paid off, thankfully.
And no extra needed, and you guys were able to claim the title. How much confidence does that give you now going into the next phase of your career? As I said, emerging Jack Caruso, one of the stars of the future. What does that do for you in terms of confidence when you're going into the next big tournament?
Yeah, it's certainly grown. I'm not getting ahead of myself at all. There's still a lot of work to be done, but to win a national title like that obviously makes you feel pretty good, and reinforces that the work I've been putting in is working. And is leading in the right direction. But there's still plenty to be done. I know that I can compete at that level now, which is a little bit of a nice... it's a satisfactory feeling knowing that I can compete at that level, and now it's just continuing that, I guess.
I love to see how people celebrate after a win, especially in massive tournaments or on big occasions. There's a great story that former AFL Premiership player Campbell Brown tells that when Michelle Payne won the Melbourne Cup, couldn't get onto any of the people she was trying to call, and somehow it just dialed Campbell Brown's number and celebrated with him as the first phone call that she made after winning the Melbourne Cup to be the first woman to ever do it. You're in a bit of a similar story here. You had your partner, your wife Hayley, there by the rink side, and the first person that you hugged, though, and celebrated with was who, please?
It was Clive Adams. It was ringside Clive. I think everyone's had a bit of a laugh with this story, and my wife's no different. The joke's been carrying on since we've got home. But it just happened to be the first person I saw. I think there's a couple of rumours flying around that he sort of ran down to the green side, but it was just it was a nice moment to share. Obviously, sharing it with my wife is extremely special, but it just so happened that Clive was the first person I saw, and everyone's had a bit of a laugh with it.
And for those who might not know who Rinkside Clive is, just give us a little background, please.
He's a teammate of mine in the WA state team. He does a hell of a lot of work for bowls in this state and for Bowls Australia. He commentates all the Rinkside live games for Bowls Australia, and just a bowls fanatic, sports fanatic, ripping bloke, and he's been a supporter of mine for a long time.
Now, we talked about confidence going into the next tournament, but there's a really career-defining moment coming up for you soon. The Jackaroo trials are just around the corner. The last spot to be a fully fledged Jackaroo is down to yourself and two other gentlemen, Matt Lucas and Jay By Norris. Does this change anything about your approach to this trial situation? Obviously, you'd be really keen to get in there now, knowing that you're in, ripping nick and great form, and you've got your eye in. Tell us about how that's feeling coming around the corner, as I just mentioned.
Yeah, I've tried not to change my approach at all or change my thinking. The two guys that I'm essentially up against, Matty and Jay, are ripping players and ripping blokes, and it's still sort of that. I never expected to be in this situation. So I'm sort of treating it that way inclined. So it's just, if it happens, I'd be obviously over the moon. But if it doesn't, whoever does get that spot's obviously earned it. And both Matt and Jay are also deserving of that spot. So it's just keeping, head down, bum up, working hard and trying to produce my best and show the selectors and the coaches that I am deserving of that spot, and if it happens to land that way, then great, and if it doesn't, well, I'll keep working for the next opportunity.
I love the attitude. Rapt to see you get that success, and we wish you all the best for what's to come. You and Matt, that'll be bonded for life now. Cody, that Australian Open pairs win, it's something that you guys will be able to hang on to and treasure forever, and congratulations to both of you for that achievement.
Thanks, Sam. If I could just say one more thing, just a quick shout-out. Matty's last bowl in that final probably doesn't quite get the recognition it deserved, but it was definitely the match-winning bowl in my opinion. So if anyone gets a chance to have a look at it, his last rock to squeeze the jack out and give us a chance, it was an absolute snorter. So thanks, Matty. Appreciate you giving me the room to be able to play the game.
This is the beautiful thing, isn't it, about team sport? And you can tell that you guys are going to have great success for years to come. The fact that you want to put his name up in lights other than your own, I think we all appreciate that, Cody. Good on you, mate. Cheers,
Sam. Appreciate it.
Cody Packer, one half of the victorious men's pairs winners at the Australian Open, and to get that win alongside Matt Johnson. It's amazing how you meet people and how bowls and sport can bring people together. They met as adversaries on the singles and ended up being champions in the pairs. It's a fantastic story. And that's pretty much it for us for another edition of Without Bias, and we do it all for Bowls Australia. Don't forget that there's a bowls club just up the road. Search bowls clubs near me, and Apia, dedicated specialists ready to help. Call 13 50 50 Apia. Get, set, go. Our Right at Home Player of the Week this week, and it's a tough week to pick it. Our Right at Home Player of the Week. Right at Home Aged Care, Care at Home. Right at Home is Australia's leading provider of home care and disability support. To our singles winners, Aaron Wilson and Natasha Van Eldick, the Australian Open singles winners in the men and women's respectively. Congratulations to you. Epic displays, taking out those titles. Congratulations. You are our Right at Home players of the week. Right at Home for the best quality in disability support, aged and nursing care. And that's it from us on Without Bias for another week, and we will catch up with you again next week.